The next theme that James deals with is the theme of judging in chapter 4, verse 11. Don't speak evil against each other, dear brothers and sisters. If you criticize and judge each other, then you're criticizing and judging God's law. But your job is to obey the law, not to judge whether it applies to you. God alone, who gave the law, is the judge. He alone has the power to save or to destroy. So what right do you have to judge your neighbor? Now, just a couple of verses later, chapter 5, verse 9. Don't grumble about each other, brothers and sisters, or you'll be judged. For look, the judge is standing at the door. Don't grumble about each other. Don't complain. Don't judge. Kind of sounds like what Jesus talked about in the Sermon on the Mount back in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 1. Don't judge others, and you'll not be judged, for you'll be treated as you treat others. The standard you use in judging is the standard by which you will be judged. Now, part of the problem that early Christians were facing is that in Judaism, the most religious of all of the sects, the most religious of all of the branches of Judaism were the Pharisees. And the Pharisees had created a culture of judging. In fact, it was very common in Jesus' day for the Pharisees to call a certain kind of people sinners not because they broke God's law, but because they didn't do what the Pharisees wanted them to do. The Pharisees created a culture of judging. Here's the point. Aren't we doing the same thing today? Doesn't it become all too easy for us to say, hey, I'm right and you're wrong. I'm blue and you're red. I'm whatever and you're not. The world that we live in today has also made a habit of judging those who are around us. We need to be careful of doing that. James says that we are not to judge each other. Instead of judging each other, what we need to do is, first of all, seek to understand the other person. When you hear a point of view that's different from your own, ask why. Find out more. Second thing that we need to do, when we're tempted to judge another person, pray for that person. Find out what they need and ask God to supply their needs. The third thing that we need to do is just exactly what James says here. You want to judge somebody else for not obeying the law, just make sure that you're obeying the law. Seek to understand. Pray for the other person. And take a close look at our own life to make sure that what we are doing is in accord with God's law.